Come on, first thought, then plug into the dream. Machines so smart, they're on the team, and before you know it, we're jamming. Take your notebooks, dusty pages, and scram what we want. New ideas in a flash.
There I am. Hello everybody, and thank you for joining us today. A couple of housekeeping things. If you could please just leave all questions to the end, or you can type them in the question box, but we'll answer all the questions at the end. Some of them may be answered through the webinar. Presentation itself should be about 30 minutes, but we'll cover off some questions. So overall, probably about 40 to 45 minutes you should allow for this. But let's get started, and hope you find it useful. Well, let's have a look at what we've got. Well, the first thing is, who is Agile? Who are we? What do we do? And so we'll run through that. We're then going to try and explore whether or not there is an AI revolution going on. We think there is, but let's see if we can explain or justify that a little bit. We're then going to say, well, look, assuming there is a revolution, does your business need to change? And if it does need to change, how should it go about that change? Should it take a reactive approach or a more proactive approach? And then on the assumption that it is proactive, we've broken this down into 10 steps we think you need to take. And so we'll run through those 10 steps and then have a look at what do you do next once you've identified that you need to take these 10 steps. What's the first major step that you need to take? And then, as I say, we've got some questions at the end. So who is Agile? Well, Agile is a business that I started just over a year ago now, and it originally designed to use AI for software development. And we've been doing it for some time, and as many of you know, I'm originally from Third Sense. I started that company over 20 years ago, but we set up this new business specifically to look at using AI in software development so that we could reduce costs, speed up delivery times, and improve quality were our three sort of primary objectives. And so that's why we set up the business. And we went through a bit of a reactive approach, first of all, and we found that wasn't working. And so we sat down, we looked at how do we do this thoroughly and properly, and how do we make AI effective in this process. And it was by taking a much more planned and proactive approach that we managed to achieve these things, these faster, better, lower costs. And what we're seeing is that we're getting around 50% saving in time and around a 15% improvement in quality of the software we're producing. Now, many of you will know, but as a reminder for those who don't, I've been involved in software development for a long time, and so this is just a little look at some of the projects I've worked on over the years. Some of you will be familiar with Reading Eggs, originally designed the first version of that and developed around 15 apps for it. Project for Pfizer, My Pharmacy Rules, again a learning-based app but for pharmacy assistants. And we've got a simulation we created for Ansarada, another learning-based project for Lion, teaching their salespeople how to negotiate. And then we've got Cochlear's Bring Back the Beat project we're very proud of, where we're helping recipients of the cochlear implant to sort of rediscover music and get more out of music as a recipient. And a project for the Department of Jobs, where we created something like a fitness tracker, but tracking your activity in job search. And so, and then finally is a game we created for McDonald's, and that got to #1 in the app stores, did very, very well for them. And so you can see we've a lot of experience in developing software. And so we would now say that there's two sides to our business. There is that software development side, but more recently, really over the last 6 months, because we told that story to a lot of people, a lot of people were saying, well, can you help us implement Agile across our business? And so we've been working with a range of different companies now, some software development, focusing on that, but some in all different areas to help with what we're calling AI transformation. And we think that's an important thing for almost any business to at least be considering at the moment, because we're seeing the world of AI change so dramatically and impact businesses in many ways. So is there an AI revolution taking place? Well, we're going to start off with a couple of quotes. Success in creating AI would be the biggest event in human history. Unfortunately, it might also be the last, unless we learn how to avoid the risks. Stephen Hawking. I don't know if that's too pessimistic. AI will impact every industry on Earth, including manufacturing, agriculture, healthcare, and more. I do worry that organisations and even governments who own AI and data will have a competitive advantage and power, and those who don't will be left behind. Automation is no longer just a problem for those working in manufacturing. Physical labour was replaced by robots. Mental labour is going to be replaced by AI and software. If that's not enough, here's a few more for you. AI will probably most likely lead to the end of the world. But in the meantime, there'll be great companies. That's Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, so slightly worrying there. It is very clear that AI is going to impact every industry. I think that every nation needs to make sure that AI is a part of their national strategy. Every country will be impacted. Jensen Huang, who is the CEO of NVIDIA. As a technologist, I see how AI and the fourth industrial revolution will impact every aspect of people's lives. Fei Li. AI will affect every product and every service that we have. Tim Cook, obviously the CEO of Apple. And there's more. Forbes says AI is a growing industry with projections showing an annual growth rate of 37.3% between now and 2030. Gartner reports that over 10,000 new AI tools and software services have been launched this year alone. A McKinsey report forecasts that AI advancement could affect around 50% of the global workforce by 2030. Precedence Research found that the global artificial intelligence market was valued at $454 billion already. Now I just want to finish off with one more quote. It's a Bill Gates quote. And in fact, over the years, many people have said something similar to this. People overestimate what will happen in the next 2 years and underestimate what will happen in 10. I'm guilty of this myself. And he said this reflecting on his book, The Road Ahead, which talked about the internet. And, this overestimate the short term, underestimate the long term is very typical with a new technology. The only thing we'd say is slightly different here is we're probably talking in months, not years, and maybe weeks, not years, when it comes to the impact on this. This is happening very, very quickly, much faster than any other new technology. So we would say buckle up. It's a revolution. Businesses are going to change dramatically, and if your business isn't changing dramatically, then it might struggle over the next 2 to 3 years. So the sooner you get onto it, the better. So do you take a proactive or a reactive approach? Well, we did a survey, just a little snapshot, and we'll just have a look at who's doing what in that space at the moment. And one of the things that we're seeing is that most people are probably really having a bit of a play with this at the moment and not taking it terribly seriously. Some businesses are, but most are just letting some people have a play. And we can see this in these results with, only a relatively small percentage sort of testing formally, or a lot of staff using them. We can also see that exclusively business here is only 10.5%. So there's a risk there, and we'll talk about some of the risks as we go through this. We can see that ChatGPT is by far the most popular, but Microsoft Copilot popular as well. And at the moment, Google's struggling a bit. Do you have a policy in place? Well, vast majority of people say no. It's only 20% of people who are saying yes, they have one in place, which is a worry. Have you trained any of your staff how to use AI? Again, only 15.8% would say yes. Are you measuring the performance of any AI tools you're using? Again, only 15.8% said yes. Suspect they're the same people. Have you developed a generative AI implementation plan that you are following? Again, vast majority of people are saying no, they're not doing this. And so we have to really ask the question, do we have some dinosaurs here? And in fact, we saw this with sort of digital generally. A lot of businesses sort of played with it, they sort of just rolled into it, but didn't really take a planned approach. And that's why we're seeing this term digital transformation, because they've realized that, oh my goodness, it's late, but we have to now take a planned approach. So you've got to ask the question, is this you, or are you going to take a much more proactive approach? We think you need to do that. So here are the 10 steps that we think you need to be taking in your business. The first one is understand the risks, and we've identified 9 risks. The first one is accuracy and accountability. These AI platforms will hallucinate. They're not necessarily accurate all of the time, but what challenges there is they're becoming more and more accurate, but they're still not perfect. And so it's very important that as a business you take accountability for that and look at what processes you need to put in place to make sure that when you use content that's created by generative AI, it is accurate and it reflects your business. We'll also have a look at the skills gap, and there's 2 sides to this. One of those is the AI systems themselves typically have skills gaps. They can't do everything. But then you've also got your people as well, and the members of your teams who they probably need some skills as well. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, what those skills are. But you really need to understand that there's likely to be some gaps in your people if you're going to take on AI. The next is privacy and IP protection. It amazes me how many people are still copying and pasting private or proprietary information or proprietary code into free versions of these systems, and that's immediately getting sucked up into the large language model and could appear on a response on anyone else's computer around the world at any time. You really need to be aware of all of the privacy and IP issues when you're using these tools or letting your staff use them. We've then got bias. Now, these tools are trained on human-created content. Humans have bias, and so we see those biases come into the platform. So once again, it's another area you need to mitigate to make sure that the output that goes from your business is not biased in ways that you don't want to be. The next one is transparency. We see a lot of businesses who are not being very transparent that they're using AI tools, and I think that might come back to bite them. So our recommendation certainly is that you should make a core decision across the business about whether you are transparent and make sure everybody in the business knows this. This goes back to having a policy in place. There's then the ethics, and again, similar to bias, we'd see that this is trained on human data, and whilst the companies that are creating these are trying to put some sort of ethical boundaries in, often they won't match your background, your business, your culture, your country, and so you really need to have a look at the ethics coming out of and the ethical side of the responses that these are producing. The next one is regulatory compliance. It's very likely in your business you have some regulatory requirements, and it's unlikely that certainly out of the box these tools will be trained for that, and so you really need to look at regulatory compliance. And then there's costs. Now, in compute terms, AI is very expensive, and so whilst there's a lot of free and low cost options at the moment, this is related to a bit of a customer grab, really. And so you really need to explore and identify, well, where will these costs be in 12 months' time? If we adopt this in our business and we start to use these, are we going to be encumbering the business with costs that we weren't expecting 12 months from now? And then finally, of course, we've got the end of humanity. Now, we've all seen, well, several movies, but and of course, when AI takes over the world, which it could do. I mean, Stephen Hawking thought that it might, and there's certainly other people who believe that once we get to a point where the capability is so high, we could be a real risk to humanity. So if you're partaking in this, you're contributing to that risk, and you should be aware of that. By the same token, not getting involved and not understanding this, and the only way you really understand it is really to get involved, is probably the much greater risk for your business right now. And really taking a very reactive approach is probably the biggest risk of all. So what have you got to do? The first thing you've got to do is look at assessing the potential for your business. Once you've identified the risks, how do we assess the potential for your business? So we're going to look at the specific risks for your business. That was a general list of mine. We'll look at the specific risks for your business. We've got to look at the AI opportunities in your business. We're going to look at the impact on people and the potential impact on the business. In other words, is there a business case to do this? Again, a lot of people are jumping in, they're having a play, they're trying stuff, they're turning it on across the business, and it's kind of belief. They're not really taking a pragmatic approach, and we recommend doing that. The next one is make a strategic plan and commit to it and communicate it. So take a proactive approach, conduct the research, develop policies and procedures, involve your people in this process, make a commitment, and communicate that plan and commitment. Very important step. Next one is choose your tools and technologies widely. We've got the most popular AI tools of 2023 here. Some of those are no longer relevant. They're not here anymore. As we said, there's been 10,000 launched this year. It's very important that you take a considered approach to the tools and technologies that you want to implement across the business. So there's now over 10,000 tools. Many are not business ready yet. They're promising more than they can deliver. Some, you got to look at the business as well, not just the tool. Do we have something here that's going to be around in 12 months' time? Consider where the costs might go and be driven by the business needs, not the features of the tool. So it's really important to start with the business needs first and then find the tool that fits that rather than the other way around. So the next thing we think is very important in this is to map your process. Take time to map and document your business processes if you haven't already. Focus on high impact, easy to implement processes first. Encourage staff to be involved with this process and reduce the boring task and increase efficiency of your people by doing so. And automation is really one of the ways that you can do this most effectively. Next, of course, is measure, measure, measure. We measure the performance of our people. We need to measure the performance of our AI tools. So look at things like completed AI tasks, completed automations, time per task, AI tasks per person, AI issues, time spent on A versus other tasks, AI versus other tasks, and create dashboards, share the results, and drive improvements in those. Number 7 is change the way people work. And there's a lot of fear around the use of AI. People are concerned about their jobs, and understandably so. And typically, the larger the organisation, the more likely that is. And so we think it's much better, certainly for the foreseeable future, to think of empowering your workforce and motivating your workforce in a number of ways by helping them use AI and getting more out of the existing people that you've got. And so we like to explain this in a sort of master-apprentice approach. And typically, so we have your people who might currently be doing the job become the master of the job, and the AI is the apprentice that they support and train. And typically that needs a new set of skills. They need to train the apprentice, they need to give feedback, they need to support them, and they need to check all of their work. And what this does is really empower people to become much, much better at their job. And what we see as an output of that is an increase in productivity across the business. So the next thing to look at is the management of the change. I mean, this is not, you can't just roll this out and do this, or you can, but it's likely to fail. And so we need to really treat this like any other change management process. So understand the change, plan the change, communicate the change, and implement it. And it's really important that there's good communication and that you're bringing people on board. I think that we see this as probably one of the biggest mistakes in technology. It sort of gets dumped on people at times without bringing them along. And I think some effort in bringing your people along will really result in much, much higher performance for those people. And then number 9 is adopt a continuous improvement mindset. So you really need to question this. You need to learn, try things, fail before you succeed, share what's working, and grow as a business. And the pace of change in AI is much, much faster even than the internet or other technologies. And so something you need to be doing with quite regularity is looking at how you can continuously improve. And we would say that's become an agile business. So you're going to be agile with your AI and become agile. And then perhaps the most important thing, this is a one-off process you go through. It's going to be a lot faster, a lot easier, a lot less expensive if you work with a partner. And so we would say make sure you have somebody who understands AI, understands the risks and the potential, understands business, and understands people. And so make sure you get some good criteria. If you're not choosing ours, that's fine, but make sure you look at those criteria when working with a partner. Now, we're here to support you every step of the way. So we have a range of services that we can offer. So AI strategy and planning, AI policies and procedures, we can help with that, risk analysis, tools and technologies selection, automations, we can help set those up for you and get everybody running, integrations with other tools, change management, workshops and training, performance tracking, and helping you develop this continuous AI improvement culture and developing that within the organisation. So what are your next steps then? Well, we would say that there's really a risk/stroke opportunity assessment. If you want to have a look at this, it's really to identify whether there is opportunity within your business and the opportunity outweighs the risk and the benefit outweighs the cost. So we have a look at the current use of AI in the business, specific risks for your business, specific opportunities. We put together a high-level implementation plan with level of investment required and identify if there is a business case.
Come on, first thought, then plug into the dream. Machines so smart, they're on the team, and before you know it, we're jamming. Take your notebooks, dusty pages, and scram what we want. New ideas in a flash.
ya. Predicting trends for me and you, ya. A force that's strong and mighty new, ya. We're gonna see it, our lives will be it. A future bright, where it will lead it. With algorithms, oh so clever, yeah. It brings us closer, now than ever, yeah. The world's connected, now and forever, yeah. We're gonna see it, our lives will be it. A future bright, where it will lead it.
Wisdom, don't you know? Changing the way we ebb and flow. It's all so thrilling now. No need to fear, 'cause the future is here, can't you see? It's all in the code, now watch how it unfolds magically. Algorithms dancing, don't you know? They chart our lives, making things glow. From dawn till dusk, they steal the show. It's automation, wow. Let's tip our hats to this fantastic spree. Future bright with joy and glee.
Come on, first thought, then plug into the dream. Machines so smart, they're on the team, and before you know it, we're jamming. Take your notebooks, dusty pages, and scram what we want. New ideas in a flash.
Invention spark, it's quite a lark, oh don't you see? From tallying sums to online rums, it's wild to me. Computers once large, now they're in charge, it's history. We'll chat and talk around the clock, it's all so free. Oh my, we got AI, and it's going to change the blooming world. Smart machines in our routines, they'll revolutionize. From writing prose to diagnosing woes, there's no disguise. With learning fast, they'll outlast and improvise. The future's bright, with code in mind, just realize. Oh my, we've got AI, and it's going to change the bloody world.
Well, the future's here, and it's pretty clear. AI's changing all we know. Computers thinking, wires linking. Where will it all go? No more chores, just open doors to a world brand new. From morning calls to flying cars, there's nothing AI can't do. Gimme all that tech. All the good stuff, all the new stuff, gotta keep it in check.